Peace and blessings, family. Sister Anjali, ooh, this gonna be a big one, okay? I got so much to share with you, and I'm gonna just have so much fun. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but it's gonna be long, I'm sure, because the data is just obliterating. And the thumbnail, I just found that so amusing that Trump and J.D. Vance were at a game with old Daniel Penny. And it's just so much to discuss. So I'm going to get right to it because I got all my thumbnails all lined up. I don't know. I might, circle around a particular subject a couple times, but it's all going to be damning truth. And so let's just get to it, all right? So much going on, and I'm really happy that my little thumbnail of me can hide the just ridiculous amount of flesh being pushed on Daily Mail. I know it's Daily Mail, so that's what they're going to do. But these are like celebrities. That's why I call them that. But these are supposedly well-known, famous people who are failing at beguiling us anymore, and they're utilizing whatever desperate means they can, including wearing almost nothing. Just they're planning on the complete nothingness, and I mean that literally and figuratively, and in terms of their orgies, which is historically what had happened in Europe and in ancient Rome. They keep wanting to lay claim to Rome so desperately, and because it was the first evidence of what they believe is a measure of civilization, which is really nice buildings. And that's not even part of the word. So I'm just saying, I'm so glad that you don't have to see what I'm looking at here with the friggin' nakedness. I thought feminism was supposed to stop that, but it's the feminists who are like, yeah, because they're all into that sexual hoovering thing. And so the feminists, they're really pushing the demoralization of women, because women are really easy to fool. And I speak from experience. I've been fooled on many significant occasions, but once I understood who the devil was, you can't fool me like you used to. And that includes a whole bunch of black us. So there's these, friggin', what is it, drones? And luckily they're not calling them UFOs, because they keep trying to push that one and nobody's really grabbing at it. But this whole drone thing, they're the size of SUVs. They've got drones the size of friggin' jumbo jets, okay? And they're hovering over my own head, I guess. And there's people out there experiencing all kinds of terrible symptoms when it's winter. And folks aren't getting the amount of sunlight that they ordinarily would. And plus the American diet, it's set up to make you sick. And most of us are addicted to it because it contains substances that will cause you, when you get hungry, you don't just get hungry. They call it now hangry. I'm hangry. I get mean. Yeah, that's because you're a junkie. Right? So, of course, people have symptoms at this point in time. That's how they manage to perpetuate the fraud of coronasteria, because the flu numbers suddenly did a sharp dive bomb. Right? And then everybody's, yeah, that's exactly what I have. I've got to start washing my food in bleach. Unfortunately, I'm going to show this as part of my whole subject matter, but yeah, there's a lot of people out there who are so terribly easily fooled, because most of the world is filled with surface thinkers. It's not just black us. We've got to stop the embarrassment that they've infested us with, so that we automatically, if we see one black person doing anything that we're like, I would never do that. It's amazing that more of us aren't out of our minds than actually are. These people never, ever stop. MAGA never stops working to destroy us, so that you got Trump up there with an all-white administration, that they're already trying to flee for the hills, but still, all white people, and all these Procyon loaders out here. I don't know, I don't go check on our traders anymore, but they aren't saying enough that I even, people I would say, oh yeah, you pro-black, ain't saying a damn word about Trump's completely non-black. Ain't a black person up in there except for the waiters administration. And there he's up there with Daniel Penny. We're going to get back to Daniel Penny, but let's get to the drones, okay? Tom Leonard. Why were firefighters told by officials to don hazmat suits as dozens of mystery drones buzzed over military bases across America? It started in New Jersey, which completely coincides with Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast. That was a complete test case where they wanted to see just how dumb Americans are. I'm not saying you're dumb. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we have two separate nations stuffed together. So you got lots of black people who've been talked out of our minds. So we are materialists. They want us to go all the way to hedonists. All right, so that's what the whole Shaft in Africa and all the rest of that was, where Shaft always, he was like the original black James Bond, where he's just got a bevy of women, but no family, no one woman that he finds worthy enough to perpetuate his lineage with. So they talked us into hedonism with that, where it was the precursor form of homosexuality, where it's like, I can't get no satisfaction, because all you're concentrating on is living a parallel life, living a, just laying down on the sheets. That's not a life. You can't be in bed all the time. It's wonderful. Sex is wonderful. But if that's your sole measure of why you are going to be with anybody, of course every woman's going to fail, because there's nothing more exciting than the unknown when it comes to getting your rocks off. I'm just saying, all this stuff where they have talked us into levels of lunacy so they can produce an army of Procyon loaders. Look it up. It's what I can't say anymore. Right? Because they know, they're like, okay, she gets the radiation aspect of this. We can't allow her to just be as effectively pro-black as knowing about the radiation automatically gives her that authority. I'm just saying, right? So they got an army of Procyon loaders out here pushing lunacy, pushing, oh, you need to be with a man or woman who makes $100,000 a year. How Chinese of you, Kevin Samuels. No, I haven't forgotten about you at all. And I have no respect for the lunacy he left behind that these army of Procyon loaders keep trumpeting, and so that we believe that having money is a measure of your humanity. Ain't nothing in the word civilization that says monetization. No, it's about your ability to get along with others, so you can also recognize getting along with your future mate, and hopefully the one that you've chosen that is fulfilling to you is about a lot more than not only sex, but money too. All right? And so Tom Leonard, why are the firefighters told about, getting back to this, I said it's going to be a lot in this, hazmat suits. Well, I can't find the meme right now. Maybe I will, and then I'll just supersede it over my voice, because I could do all sorts of stuff now. They found that there were large releases of radiation in the Newark and New Jersey area, just in general. Not necessarily Newark, but radiation doesn't stay still, but especially near Elizabeth, New Jersey. And so these drones started there because it's like paying homage to Orson Welles and his War of the Worlds, where I understand was even some people killed themselves over that. the satanic elites love. That's why they are steadily pushing all of this. Oh, black people, we so depressed. Right? You need to go talk to your barber about your depression. I'm not saying that we don't have issues. But once you understand who the devil is, you good. You can't even be fooled by any, like doubts and, trivial type of thinking, because we are the mightiest people on this planet. And I don't mean in the white people way of the words or the thoughts that we need to go out and hurt anybody. It's just that this melanin is incredible. It's not magical. You need to work to protect it, because the melanin, when you taking in all the stuff that is like hurting your body and everybody else's body, it ain't stupid. It will take a bite out of your lifespan extra quickly. So we'll get cancer faster eating the standard American diet. I'm just saying, okay? So the radiation is suffusing everything, and they got these drones up there. My conclusion on the reason for the drones is, first off, as a distraction thoroughly. And when I was going through Daily Mail at the outset, everything was about fear. These are the headlines on the day that I was like, fear in the air with Joe Rogan. And yeah, they're wrong about Wendy Williams. But, frightening moment, Trump advisor Bruchette's collapses at young Republican club. And Viagra, like, oh, that could be a whole nother share. But then they had nuclear in every other headline. Nuclear war aftermath. And they even had Stephen A. Procyon Loader Smith with the, there he goes, with he's gone nuclear. And I was like, I'm not saying this is all about me at all. I'm just saying, these people are desperate. They're very, very terrified, and they're very, very dangerous. But they're threatening our children. They're wiping out all life. Forget sentient and unsentient or insentient life on the planet. That demands self-defense and just never stopping ourselves. And so they've hidden the amounts of radiation. The meme that I saw, which was on Zero Hedge, and if I can find it, as I said, I'll insert it somewhere. But they've hidden the levels that were being reported, and so that instead they got down to where it's just this little medical vial amount of radiation that was, missing during transport. And I'm like, I used to do shares on the regular coming here to the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission about all the thefts of, first off, I would just go on and on about the tritium signs. I was like, oh my God. And people don't understand, because they used to say the tritium water that was in the Fukushima tanks that they've released into the oceans. I think they've been releasing it all along. But nevertheless, they would say, oh, but it's just tritium, no big deal. No, there's everything in there, because they can't filter it the way that they swear they can, because listening to Dana Durnford, who we don't like each other, but it's only one planet, and nonetheless, he tells the facts about that radiation. Even the filters would be burned out. They would have to change them on the regular basis, because to get out the more incinerating isotopes, and I use that in a very superficial way, because there's no such thing as a harmless atom of radiation, they would just burn through everything. That's why they have to decommission nuclear reactors after just 50 years. They're technically supposed to. They keep recommissioning them because the industry, the nuclear industry, lies to the U.S. and to everybody around the planet about what they're going to do with this waste. They call it waste. It's not waste. It's actually more destructively radioactive than the stuff they started with if it was uranium ore. Uranium ore is configured in a way where they have to purify it in order to get rid of uranium-235, which is awful, right? It's yellow cake, they also call it. And that winds up being used in munitions because it's still so hot, it pierces through friggin' Sherman tanks. Whatever they got, it pierces through it and it causes massive, massive deformities in the babies. Fallujah, just, I don't know, they might have scrubbed that away. But doctors in Fallujah told the women to stop having babies because they were coming out so horrifyingly deformed. The U.S. military had been ordered to fire 1 million rounds of uranium-depleted munitions into Fallujah every single month. So they couldn't have, I think that was another one of their tests. So here on the Nuclear Regulatory Commission site, it says tritium, a radioactive isotope of hydrogen. Because it is chemically identical to natural hydrogen, tritium can easily be taken into the body by any ingestion path. It decays by emitting beta particles. Beta particles have a very short range of just waves of emotions. Not emotions, but motion. And so that's why when they say, oh, it's just a beta emitter when it comes to tritium, not if you're taking it in, is it like inconsequential, because inside your body, excuse me, this is all flesh, yeah? Can you afford to have a freaking nonstop Gatling gun that says, they say here, it has a half-life of about 12.5 years. Half-lives are full lies because all they're dealing with is like 1/10 of the substance decaying into another isotope that can also be radioactive. So you have to times it by like 10 to 100. So tritium can last for upwards of 125 years. Whatever it's bombarding with all these beta decays, it's destroying it. So I come here, not as much as I used to. I almost don't come here anymore because I was just like, okay, all right. I think they changed it again because I might have come here in November to look at the events. Just to see, and I've reported on finding there was a nuclear accident in Philadelphia, I do believe, and I alerted our family because they were talking about releases of like 10,000 becquerels, maybe even more. It was almost on par with 3 Mile Island. But I also found out, because I never stopped researching, that if any nuclear power plant is run by the United States, and I'm going to show the quote from the book I read that in, they don't have to say a goddamn word about anything. And so are they covering up a nuclear release from a military base? I know I have reported on the Hurricane Helene down in Tennessee had destroyed a nuclear base, and all the residents there, hope that you manage to survive what you have been slathered with, because the residents still don't have any homes. They're not getting any help from the governments whatsoever. And they're saying there are people who, when they put their boots into the mud, their boots are melting. Radiation does that, right? And so I've reported on these things coming on over here. A friggin' I'd even ignore when they talked, when I was coming here every single day, when they would talk about the medical events, because there's so daggone many of them. That is not what those drones are up there looking for. It's just they don't want anybody focusing on the incredible increase in radiological contamination. Great, I did find it. Had to search a bit, but here you could see It's 50 counts per minute, 100 counts per minute, 200 counts per minute, over 200 counts per minute. Right here in the New York area, it's well over 200 counts per minute. That ain't coming from no daggone medical, device or whatever, where it's over 200 counts per minute. They're talking these medical devices or the, injection or whatever was like 10 microcuries. That is an insignificant amount. Here you have just one curie. A microcurie is 1,000th of a curie. And it is equivalent to, I would have to put the commas. I wish they put the commas here. But that's the hundreds, that's the thousands, that's the millions. So 37 billion becquerels. What a becquerel is? That is a count per minute. And so this right here, one curie compared to a one microcurie, them little medical devices are dangerous, but they're not like that. And they're far vaster here because 50 counts, one becquerel is a count. One becquerel is a count. And so for anything to be over 200 becquerels, at 50 becquerels is considered a hazmat situation, and it should be evacuated because they know the stuff is deadly on a one atom basis. But they're not going to show you this map, right? They're not going to show you this. They just want you to be afraid, and especially of detonation of a nuclear bomb. As I said, they don't have to detonate anything for us to be taking in tritium. It doesn't say, in order for it to get into the body, tritium must be exploded in a nuclear bomb. No, every single nuclear power plant uses 1 million gallons of fresh water. Must be fresh water. Because otherwise salt water corrodes everything, not only faster if you just throw your car into the ocean, but if you've got radiation in there too, you're in a lot of trouble. I've been seeing a lot of boats, a lot of ships suddenly catching fire or having issues with their navigation systems. They're churning an awful lot of water on a constant basis. And so they just want you fearful without knowing what you can do about it. And here we go. I did have the article. New Jersey receives report radioactive material medical device. Oh, this is the other one. Lost in transit. And this is the device that just has a minimal amount. And there they have the event notification report themselves. A minimal amount of radiation being emitted by this sucker. 0.26, it's not even 1 microcurie. It's 0.267. That's not causing massive increases where it's hundreds and hundreds of counts per minute across large swaths of territory. They just don't want you looking that deeply into it because they want MAGA back. And as I said many times, when you kill oceans, you lose. So here, and they try to justify the targeting of the breakdown in white people's confidence in each other. They want to target it at black us. That's hence the wokery, but I'm not here to talk about the fact that every time they showcase wokery of any sense, they always show black us. That reminds me of another article where they were talking about here in the Cotswolds, every Christmas is white because all the middle class women are snorting cocaine at parties. And I'm truly shocked by what these school moms get up to. Now, when I went scrolling down, because I was like, what's up with this white? Okay, they know they mean white people. I'm saying, all right? But when they show the first photo, why do they have a black woman up in the middle of all of that and this one with the snake tattooed around her friggin' eyebrows? Right? And that's what they're about. This is some sort of like friggin', magical conjuring type of nonsense on their part. Because when I went to look up the Cotswolds, I went to this video right here. Ain't nobody but some rich white women, white men, white families living up in here. Ain't no black people up in here whatsoever. But the cocaine use is off the charts. It's for them to figure out why they are so bored, even though they've stolen everything. England they could have. We sent them to Europe, for whatever. But I'm just saying, ain't no black people up in here. But they use us to make it seem like we are the source of them just doing evil. They never stop. Just like with, I'm not mad at Dana for being just like, would I be mad at, jackals or lions or hyenas? No, I wouldn't be, for being what they are. I just know I gotta study the ways of the predator mimic so I can know what I can expect from them and hopefully not put myself in danger. I salute Dana over what he does because he doesn't stop. I'm just saying there's more to this whole radiation narrative than just what, the simple little things. You got to put whiteism up in there. Otherwise, you are not going to understand the devil. So John Voight up here was saying, Luigi Mangione, whatever, it's wrong to support it. We got to maintain civilization and humanity. And then, as I read further down, he is celebrating I knew he was not going to be found guilty. We all sort of know that, except for some of the more entrenched Negropeans and the out-and-out Procyon loaders. I think they knew he was going to be found not guilty, and they probably celebrated themselves. I'm just saying, the next thing John Voight is saying is, oh, no, this is great that he got away. So that's how they send the message. Could you please have your meltdown on the black people? And white people, no. They rate being considered part of humanity. So we don't just go and randomly shoot them. But the black people, we choke them on the subway. Even though we were once in the army and we completely understand the deadliness of a friggin' chokehold. And you don't friggin' kill somebody. There's no judge. There's no jury. There's no ability to, just sort of go over the subject matter. Why'd you shut down all the medical facilities so that you didn't have those who were more ridiculously hazardous to public, to populations outside? Why'd you shut down all of them places, the institutions that would have them separated from society? No, you shouldn't run them like you used to run those places. But at the same time, all it did was release a lot of people who are on a razor-thin edge of being able to control their emotions, to be able to look at them and just say, no, I don't have to go walking down a crowded subway car looking threatening in whatever way. Did he hurt someone? No, he didn't. Did Daniel Penny hurt someone? Yes, he did. So what's the difference between him and Luigi, who shot a man in cold blood? I don't give a damn if you don't like these CEOs. That's not the way you conduct civilization, right? So they always, Dr. She has said, and it was so on point, that they study how to control whole populations. They sell us this lunacy of, the brave individual, I'm on my own, don't you tell me nothing, I don't need no man, all the rest of that sort of nonsense. But speaking from the individualism of the female perspective, you can only say that because men are keeping the society to a certain extent, not really much anymore, but still, you can't say you don't need no man because men have provided enough safety and security that you think that you got it like that all by yourself, and that's not true. That's a lie. Mystery as radioactive shipment goes missing in New Jersey amid drone invasion. They're just trying, this is what it is. It's not all of those other massive quantities of radiation that suddenly, I would hazard a guess that was another deliberate release, because I keep finding the data that shows Whoa, this all started on the West Coast. I'll show you more, okay? And because they're looking for every excuse. World fish stocks in crisis. New study exposes overfishing capacity, and they're blaming China. I watch so many China videos. If you want to see who are the real ghetto hood rats, you gotta look up Chinese Dharma. Unfortunately, they changed things so that you can't find all the channels I'm subscribed to. And then you can go and verify, because there's no way I could do one video and explain all the horrifying stuff going on in China that the US media, even European media, Daily Mail never talks about it. They'll just hint at it. There's so much collaboration going on between these so-called enemy nations. It boggles the mind. But then if you understand the devil, it doesn't boggle your mind anymore. And then you find the data that says, no, they wanted China to look like the nice guy. And so that they could Africa would let China in, which they have. In Africa, which is completely materialistic. Luckily, not yet are they hedonistic, but I see them working on them. All the different channels that I had talked about, and I was so grateful to them for showcasing really pertinent information about the mutations happening in Africa. I see they've all changed. They've got stuff coming out now that is so deviant, so non-African, that it's extraordinary. So I see they've been working on them, and China's all up in there. And China with the TikTok, controlling TikTok, it was all filled with degeneracy and friggin' Procyon Loters. China is not our friend, right? I'm just saying. So they're blaming it for, when did this overfishing start? Right? And no, this isn't, and oh my goodness, there has been a 70% decrease in the Pacific Oceans and all the regions nearby where Fukushima blew up and all the waters connected to that. Now, I'm not including the Atlantic, even though eventually all the waters connect, but a 70% decrease in the amounts of available food from the oceans. China's massive fishing fleet overwhelms locals. But here you go, squid. They're just saying the squid, but everything's down. It's down 70%. 70%. What? China ain't eating that goddamn much squid. Okay? This is in the Pacific. In the Pacific. These are the places that were hit by that radiation the most horribly. Here you see, they even have West Africa's falling fish stocks, right? East Africa, they have the water, everything's flowing clockwise. The winds go clockwise, the waters are going clockwise. And so the eastern region of Africa, it's going to be pummeled. Radiation is deadly on a one-atom basis, but the whole freaking west coast of Africa is experiencing it too. Also, South Africa is one of the only places that has a nuclear power plant, but they're trying steadily to talk Africa into getting its own nuclear power plants, because then they can poison it even faster. They won't have to ship in the Fukushima radioactive rice. I wish, watching those China videos, they showed, and I could never find it again, but a Chinese container ship and the entire bottom portion, so that you would be standing down here and the top of the container bottom portion would be up here. It was filled with sacks, metric tons of rice. I know where they're getting that rice from. So here's what they do. This is a PDF file from the document Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, confidential, top secret. And I'll put a link to this so you can read this yourself. But there's one little quote down here. This is supposedly a government document, and everything about it Just, that's what it is. It's like the protocols for the learned elders of Zion has been found in I think it was either Norway, a Norwegian court, or a Swedish court to be a forgery. You have to be careful of the language when you're dealing with these devils. Forgery does not mean that the original it was copied from is fake. You can have many forgeries of a Da Vinci. That does not eliminate the existence of real Da Vinci's. It's just like with the Rothschild guy who was burned in his house in Hollywood. Daily Mail, hi, how you doing? Had done an article subsequent to the one where I was talking about, yeah, everything's going to go bananas. Just like I said, that's why they had the guy buying a banana for $6.4 million that had been, duct taped to, I don't know if it was a canvas or the wall, and then eating it. And he paid $6.4 million. That's instruction. It's instruction. Right? And so they had an article where they said, oh no, but the Rothschild, that wasn't really his name. His father's name was something else. And they said, but he went to court to get his name changed to Rothschilds. And then you find out, no, but his mother's name was Rothschilds. Right? That's the way of this certain sect of people where the lineage goes through the mother. Okay? And so that's not a forgery. That's not, oh no, he wasn't really a Rothschild. No, he really, really was. Okay? I'm just saying, that's what these people do. And so here, from this pamphlet, in order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of society, they mean black you and me and anybody else that they can't stand, and it turns out they can't stand life itself, okay, must be brought under total control, i.e. must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and also degeneracy. And behind the scenes, they're up in the public schools teaching children all kinds of lunacy. Not telling the parents that, oh, we told your daughter that she's a he, but don't tell your parents, okay? And the established disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers where you go in, your children are pummeled by, oh, it's Christmas, and oh, it's this, and oh, it's that, and I'm going to get back to the Christmas thing, and Valentine's Day cards, so that they are, later on, you're just like, this is what we do, this is the real me. I remember when I met Dr. Shi, and he's like, we ain't having no Christmas tree up in my house. And I was like, oh no, but I've loved Christmas all my life. And I am so glad that brother tipped me to what's going on. And then I did the research so I could find out. In the Bible itself, it says, don't do that crap. Don't do it. And you're like, oh, this is, like the severed heads. I forget the friggin' satanic ancient tyrant who went around chopping off heads, and that's what the baubles on the Christmas tree are all about. Okay, and Moloch, Santa's red suit. We're gonna get back to Santa. That is an imitation of Moloch and how they used to make child sacrifices. And they would put the child on a burning clay oven. 2, ask for a bountiful harvest the next year. I'm just saying. Okay, let's get back to this. Daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children, meaning that, yeah, you need a man. You think that you could go on out and work in the state's going to take care of your children. They're going to take care of them all right. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that when a sister comes before you and says, it's the radiation, you don't believe me. Right? So that the moat of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order. Whose social order is genocide? The targets of the genocide? No. Order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Georgia Guidestones, they aren't kidding. They aren't kidding. Right? This is a photo of like the Rockefellers and I said shills in this video, but it's actually the Schiffs who were over here in the unentitled Snakes of America and trying to figure out how to take hold of what the founding babies' daddies did. I'm talking about Washington and Jefferson and all the rest of them did to found this nation, because black us, as I understand, we were here, and then there were other natives who were here who were maybe a little bit lighter. And the white people they were bringing over here had never even conceived of the notion that freedom could actually be pleasant. It could be liberating and you could live. They never conceptualized that. So they had to enact laws that if you were a white person who ran off to be with the native populations, they would torture you and kill you. They would put a hook through your tongue and hang you up by a tree. So when they wrote out the different laws for each state, and then inevitably the Constitution, they had to rope it all so that they could trick everybody into just getting back to them being in charge. That's what the Constitution is about. That's why they have the Electoral College that they never taught us about when I was in school, because I was going to one of them lower class schools. They're like, no, we ain't going to talk about that. Where that's just a means of control. Here you are thinking, I got my vote. Okay, he's about MAGA, but, he's not as awful as the friggin', trans-sutured up supporting, not really black chick. Right? And so I got my vote. No, you don't. And none of us ever have. And they've made it even more obvious that the whole thing is just plantation A and plantation B, and they never stop. Okay? And so other people are recognizing that the whole thing is full of crap with the drones flying up in the sky. But when I come to these sites, they don't talk about the radiation, right? Daily Mail, suddenly now they can say, oh no, we've talked about nuclear before. We had put nuclear on there only to fearmonger people. And, I don't know. I'm just saying that I found this particular article very cryptic. Mysterious googly eyes go viral after appearing on public art in Oregon. This was real funny, where it's like a black globe, and suddenly, like Raymond Levine, who was head, I guess he still is, of the Human Health Department, whatever. He's a health general something, and he was out there saying, we have to give more money to the black community because they suddenly started to ask questions about the environment. I hope I've been a part of that wake up, right? Because this was really weird, and that they also had it on the deer. Let's go to the deer. I've got so many of these photos, it's crazy, but this one I'll start with. Breaking: hunting agencies strongly warn against eating game deer and or fish. This has gone from warning the hunters about eating this stuff to reports on hunters just dropping dead like the other one I passed by real quick, the young Republican meeting where a dude just collapsed. And those different, more truthful white loving sites, I ain't mad at you. Pink on pink love, baby, do you? I don't want you. Okay? Oh my God, do I ever wish for the day, pray for the day when you guys could be over there, we could be over here, and we don't have to see each other for thousands of years. Wouldn't that be amazing? I doubt it's going to happen because you guys can't stand the idea of us being the rulers of our own destiny. As long as it's in accordance with the perpetuation of life, you would be so, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, the deer are just like massively mutated, and now the hunters are dropping dead. I don't need to show, Here we go. Here's all the different photos that I've showcased before where the deer are, you eating this? Ooh, you bravely stupid as hell. Okay? I'm just saying, get this book. Because this book, this is the reason why they shadow banned it, hid it, utterly censored it on Amazon. Amazon, that's not a social media site, and social media should be considered a utility because that's what it is. Because they use it to destroy whole populations of people. Remember Arab Summer, which was supposedly conducted using social media? I'm quite sure if I were, Arab, and I'm not, and I don't worship Arabs, that's for daggone sure, that I would find the heavy hand of the European and those derived from Europeans all up in there, just like with Rwanda, where you'll see them just stoking, putting stuff together so that they can just wreak havoc on the population, go running in there, and there's no resistance whatsoever. Just like with us when it comes to Trump and MAGA. Now this one's, the government has admitted it kept military nuclear disasters secret for decades. Official spokesperson said this secrecy was part of a deeply rooted institutional practice dating back from the days of the Manhattan Project in 1942, which regarded outside disclosure of any nuclear incident at a nuclear weapons production plant as harmful to national security. In fact, the very law that established civilian control over nuclear technology with the creation of the Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, in 1947 also established a special category of restricted data. This is a little bigger so you could read it for yourself. But in 1947 also established a special category of restricted data that included all information concerning the manufacture or utilization of atomic weapons, the production of fissionable material, or the use of fissionable materials in the production of power. The disclosure of restricted data to unauthorized persons or parties was punishable by death. That's still there, right? And I know we didn't miss that Israel. It's funny, you can't say anything against the policies of an entire country based on what, you being from Russia? I'm just saying, right? Did you see that bomb? I've read other things that says that there's those folks who are like, look, we are not giving up, not ever. And we know all of Trump's administration, they are bought and paid for by those that cannot be mentioned, right? Yeah, they're going to bomb everything out of existence, right? That's why we cannot be beholden to Raymond Levine and him saying that, oh, no, black people are waking up. Because I had said that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, but the two-eyed man is number one on the FBI's most wanted list, right? Because that just shuts the liars down. If your society is based on lies, it's not called Mendacity-ovation, okay? It's civilization. It's not liars as age, whatever. You get my point. Their house of cards is collapsing. When you kill oceans, yes, you do. But they're just steadily trying to talk people into embracing evil. I thought this was just more of they've been pushing this Grinch thing this year. The Grinch was evil. He was evil, right? And so I thought, okay, yeah, they're up to with their usual nonsense. And I said, this is also a message. This is programming. But when I saw the Santa in the green, outfit, I was like, okay, maybe they just feel like green could be a very elegant color. It's the devil who uses whatever he can. He comes on the straight path and he'll just be like, okay, you like black and white? I'm going to, ooh, you like butterflies? Oh, I'm going to, ooh, you like this? You like that? Oh, I'm going to, and then he turns it into degeneracy, which is what he's trying to do to all of us in order to stave off his house of collapsing cards. But then when I read through the article, the whole thing is like, be a little evil. Be a little evil. Oh my God, what? No, don't ever be evil. Don't ever. Because this is what they want. This makes them feel like, see, God? See? We got your greatest pebble. While they're steadily lying. Species in Chernobyl is mutating to feed on nuclear radiation. This is such an old friggin' story. I'm so glad I've been doing this research for so long so that when they pop up with this stuff as if it's new, oh, we talked about the radiation. Even before Russia disclosed that there was a mold growing in the nuclear reactors, the destroyed nuclear reactor of Chernobyl, and they waited like, I don't know, maybe 20 years or something before they even announced it. And that's because they were like, wait a minute, but this mold is black. And we could take advantage and convince the black people that they're having melanin. It makes you magically impervious to nuclear fission. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. As you see with the full scale, not just the guys at the young Republicans meeting, dropping dead, black us are. Okay? And so this is just propaganda. This is what they do. They are the mold. And if you are a good white person, I'm not talking about you, right? Though I follow the Most High. He says he's not coming for the individual. He's coming for the principalities. The question is, which principality are you supporting? Because I ain't on Diddy's side. I ain't on Jay-Z's side. I just expose different things Jay-Z and Beyonce were doing that 100% screamed. They're on for Team Satan. I am soulfully against anybody on Team Satan, okay? Because this is where it's going. Japan's funeral industry struggles to keep pace with rising deaths. Of course Japan is dying. They got that daggone shogunai thing going on up in there where you don't say nothing. If your neighbor and your other neighbor and a whole bunch of people are like, no, we ain't doing that today, you don't do it either, right? The nail that stands up gets hammered down. And so they're dying. They're dying. That's why they killed, in my conclusion, Shinzo Abe. Assassinated him. Because he was dying too. Of cancer. They got a princess even who she's checking out too. I don't know how long. I doubt they'll assassinate her. I don't seek that. I know even at this stage, everything can be resolved peacefully. But these people are not like us. Even though I don't like Kendrick either, because he's full of crap. He got his pale-skinned wife in the dark in the video because he doesn't want to highlight the fact that he doesn't like being black. You don't get up that far and you love what the devil hates. I'm just saying. So, woo, my condolences. I do this joyfully, by the way, okay? But I still love life. I love people. I love black us most of all. I don't want to be here if there's not a one of us here. Though, no, I can't say that. Because if I'm still here, I know that the Most High, He has got my back. Right? Because He saw Noah. He saw Aaron and Moses. Even though all those around them were losing their daggone minds. So here's another quote that I just wanted to share. Because this is just common sense. It's logical. Where, okay, title. Here's the proof anti-vaxxers have got it wrong. It's not the COVID jab making people ill, says Professor Rob Galloway. But then he doesn't know anything about the radiation, okay? Because, well, let me just get to the quote. right? This is something that I had figured out a long time ago. The COVID patients all became ill before October 2020, when not all had been offered the vaccine. I said that the vaccine didn't arrive till long after so many of us were dying, okay? But I just want you to know, this is an article all the way back from 2011. Now, Dr. She saw me putting this together, all the tabs, and he's like, oh, that's an old article. I was like, well, too bad the radiation doesn't give a damn. Because as I say, uranium-238, that's what it is. Depleted uranium lasts for upwards of 450 billion years. It don't give a damn. Just ask the people in Fallujah if it is hazardous. And yes, it is. Okay? Radiation found in San Francisco, California, tap water, rainwater radiation, 18,100% above drinking water limit. Right after that, they came in. It was Obama. Right? Obama, I'm definitely not on his side. Right? And even Michelle, I ain't on her side either. I don't give a damn if she trashes her husband in public, which she does every now and then. Right? And she admitted that they had both them children with IVF. Why? Why? I'm just wondering. I don't think she's trans-sutured up. I really don't. But at the same time, I do believe the research I found when it came to Jeremiah Wright and all of that, that she was sent in to marry their designated black proxy, who would have, of course, have to be homosexual. I'm just saying, all right? And so he came in and he increased the allowable levels of radiation in the drinking water. And so that, boop, there you go. You're fine now, okay? Just, tell her, tritium, I got this. You're not coming into me today. But the FDA allows in all foods from Fukushima with no alerts. They didn't say it would have no radiation. They just said with no more alerts. And that reminds me of China. China, I think it was a setup too, where a little Japanese boy, unfortunately, was stabbed to death. My condolences. Right? And then shortly after that, in a humble apology, what ain't nothing humble about the CCP. They were like, okay, we'll allow all the food in from Japan. Well, I guess all tests they were conducting on lobsters and on fish. Ain't no fish or lobsters have lungs to contract COVID. And so how come this person in Daily Mail, this professor, can't do this research? This is China. I don't want to, there's details here. But I'm just saying, millions of herring dying, they ain't getting no jab. Russia says it's developed a cancer vaccine and will launch it for free. Just go to 25,000 year cycle and get furnace of affliction. I'm not kidding. Obviously, I don't stop myself, okay? Because my love for you will never stop. You need to eat right. And you need to incorporate the strategies that are in that book. I used to just give them away, but it's because we have been designated as their contemplation of the lower caste. We are not taught how to trust one another, how to know through our deeds, that one is doing the right thing by me, right? That book, Furnace, that's the right thing by and for you. Because kudos to Kevin Blanche and other, if you need to go see the white people in order to verify that, this is not my imagination, then go on over to Kevin Blanche. Yes, he's going to be a stream of consciousness at times, but he knows what he's talking about. And so I thank him for highlighting what they said. Scientists just confirmed the largest bird killing event in modern history. The Muirs, it's not that they're being killed, they're dying. And they a marine heat wave in the Pacific Ocean. That's where it's always at. That's why there was a huge increase in radiation just around here. Okay? Because they're like, she keeps saying it's the Pacific Ocean. You're damn right it is. Where Fukushima just keeps on spewing into. And it keeps on venting. That's why I ain't got no covers up over it. It's too damn hot. Right? like the marine heat wave in the Pacific Ocean that began a decade ago, killed some 4 million common mules in Alaska, researchers say. This is a brand new article, December 12, 2024. How come this ain't in the Daily Mail? Okay? They're not going to highlight that every time they show a picture, everything's alive. They're not talking about a 70% decline in all species. In the ocean. Well, it's not just in the ocean, it's in the air. If it's in the air, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in the tritium that falls as rain. I put what you could do about that in my book. This is before Fukushima. And this is after Fukushima. There is a precipitous decline, and they probably went to find the roosting site that was the most populated. I'm sure in places where there were muirs before, there's not a daggone thing. Dana Durnford took his little boat up and down the West Coast. He even went over to the East Coast because the radiation don't stand still, right? And it's like Mars up and out there, okay? And in these big examples of civilization, the cities, it's going to be like Mars all over the place. Hundreds of children born with degenerative muscle wasting disease to be offered new NHS drug to combat deadly condition. It's too damn bad. They ain't have that for all the starfish that had wasting disease, muscle wasting disease. They polio-like condition affecting children. That started off on the West Coast. Okay? So wasting disease devastates West Coast starfish. What's going on that this is up in England? Well, it's just that they got Sellafield over there. They got all these nuclear power plants all up in Europe, white places, because they don't love even themselves. Here's another definitive graph from the National Cancer Institute. And yeah, Daily Mail. But what happened in 2011 that they just are too intelligent to remember? I think a little teeny tiny nuclear explosion that was vastly bigger than Chernobyl, which does have a sarcophagus top over it, but not Fukushima, right? Here we go. The radiation came on over within days, and then it lay dormant because people were taking it in, taking it up, and bam! The levels of colon cancer went through the roof. And they never, ever, ever mentioned that. I'm just closing it down because I think I finished, but these were these little memes. I've shared them before, but they just put the exclamation point on everything I'm saying. During his term in 1950s, President Eisenhower, when confronted with the obvious carnage from nuclear bomb tests, told the military, keep the public confused. Quite right? Silent wars, silent weapons for quiet wars. That's the same thing, right? California Proposition 65 warning. Products containing seaweed contain chemicals. They're lying. They're lying like a dog, okay? Known to the state of California to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. Don't see that over here on the East Coast, not yet. Right? They do that because they don't want to be sued. They don't want to be sued. And this Oppenheimer one, this is the one that I should end the share on. Oppenheimer was on board with radiological weapon experiment efforts, stating to his colleague Enrico Fermi, I think we should not attempt a plan unless we can poison food sufficient to kill 500,000 men, since there is not doubt that the actual number of affected will, because of non-uniform distribution, be much smaller than. Oppenheimer was discussing radiological weapons via ingestion by widespread food sabotage. And that is in the book I highly recommend, Behind the Fog, How the U.S. Cold War Radiological Weapons Program Exposed Innocent Americans by Lisa Martino Taylor. And this is a quote from page 26. Leave that damn CMOS alone. Leave MAGA alone. And I don't mean just from Trump. I mean from both sides of both both wings of this zombie rotted bird. Just go on over to 25000yearcycle.org. I want to I forgot to thank you last time, beloved Sister D, for another purchase of my products, and you got the Silk Care Cream. That is the bomb. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy because I sent Sister G, she ordered so much, and Brother H for your order too. And so I literally, after I ship you your items, I get happier knowing, okay, today's Monday, they got their stuff. And then I know you're going to open it up and you're going to be like, oh, this stuff is amazing. Because once you get my products, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I've never spent that amount of money for soap. That's because they got poisons in this stuff that is cheap, right? When you use my soaps, when you use my Silk Care Cream, when you use Dr. She's formulas, when you consult him, you find out we are about those deeds on our black behalf, right? So people come back. They come back because there ain't no scams going on up in here. It's just the truth, the humble truth, as best as we can, because we're just regular folk, just like you, trying to escape the devil. And we have to do that by sharing everything that I put in this video right now, even if you just go do the research for yourself. But in case you don't have the time, what was this, like, I don't know, maybe 3 hours long? Thank you for watching. If you watch this all the way through, leave a comment, subscribe, and what else? I love so much. I love your comments. Your comments completely expand my understanding of everything. You're amazing. I love your comments. I love when you subscribe. I love when you share. And I definitely love when you support my ability to continue this battle on your behalf. Straight black pride, and we are done with hell if it's practiced in submission to the creator of everything, because he has love, so much love, but it's with rules, which proves it is genuine love. Peace and blessings.